Alturas Capital, Blake Hansen. From Holland Hart, Alison Johnson. And from Idaho Tech Council, Jay Larsen.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jay.
This is great. Thank you and welcome to Idaho Technology Council's Capital Connect series. There's been so much growth in Idaho over the past decade. The T-Sheets Intuit acquisition in 2018, the Truckstop.com's game-changing investment from Iconic Capital in 2019, and the Cradlepoint Ericsson acquisition in 2020, just to name a few. With so many investments, the Idaho Technology Council recognizes the need to highlight the accomplishments of the companies driving billions of dollars of capital across the state throughout the year. We are excited to announce a Capital Connect advisory team led by co-chairs Blake Hansen from Alturas Capital and Alison Johnson from Holland Hart.
That's right, Jay. In addition to the annual Capital Connect conference, we are adding a monthly series to highlight the companies growing throughout Idaho. Blake, tell us a little bit more about the Idaho Dealflow Report and quarterly updates now available on the ITC website and Built in Idaho.
Great. Well, the Idaho Dealflow Report is now a quarterly report that we're tracking all the deal flow across the state of Idaho. And this deal flow is bringing attention to businesses, the capital providers, and the support organizations even more frequently than we have in the past.
Already in 2021, we've seen investment announcements from PlexTrack, the acquisition of VisitPay for $300 million. And throughout the year, we'll be highlighting these companies and more as they receive funding through the 50 to the A celebrations.
We are looking forward to celebrating the amazing business success and growth in 2021. While we can all agree 2020 was a challenging year, Idaho still had many deals and significant capital flow, with approximately 155 deals that totaled to $5.5 billion in capital flow. Blake, tell us a little bit about the capital flow in Idaho in 2020.
Absolutely. All right, so here's how 2020 shaped up for us. Like Jay mentioned, we had 150 deals that we tracked and about $5.2 billion of total capital flow, which I just like to say, for our little Idaho, we really pack a punch. $2.9 billion was from private placements, $1.5 billion at least from mergers and acquisitions, and one public offering that we'll talk about. So the top private placement deals, Albertsons received some funding right before their IPO. Vacasa had a $108 million round of growth equity. Lignetics, a $70 million Series C. On the mergers and acquisitions side, Ericsson acquired Cradlepoint. Congratulations to George and his team for $1.1 billion, keeping this technology company around in Idaho with those jobs, and even we expect some growth. DocuTech for $350 million, acquired by First American, and Excel Fabrication also. But the public offering that we all know about was Albertsons, bringing this company back to Idaho. I guess it's been an Idaho company for a long time, but once again, having a publicly traded Albertsons here as a stable employer for all of Idaho. 2020 deals by industry, again, technology and software lead out. So 39 deals in total from technology and software, which we've mentioned in the past. These are some of the highest paying jobs that are coming to our state. So we really like to see these companies starting and growing and thriving right here in Idaho. Materials and resources, consumer retail and services, pretty close there. Some financial services and healthcare concentration also. All right, so 2020 deals, they were big. There were a lot of them, over $5 billion. But here's 2021. So far this year, we've tracked 37 deals, $700 million worth of capital flow, 15 private placements, 20 mergers and acquisitions, and now we're including 2 ESOP plans. So this is a really exciting part of seeing Idaho companies transitioning, so owners transitioning to the ESOP model. So here are some of these deals. Tackle.io raised $35 million Series B. AppDetex, a $12.2 million Series C. Emerson Learning, a $5.5 million Series A. Obviously, like Alison mentioned, the Kount deal, $640 million acquisition by Equifax. And then truckstop.com was out there also, buying the, registry monitoring insurance services. So it's great to see Idaho companies not only being acquired, but out on the prowl looking for other companies to bring into the fold. So that's been great for us. All right, we also mentioned the 2 ESOP. So Tate's Rent, with 100 employees, decided to sell the business to their employees, and Commercial Tire, with 500 employees over, I think, the 5+ state region for Commercial Tire. So bringing another 500 employee base, stable base of employees here in Idaho. So as we've mentioned before, there are a lot of exit strategies. Sometimes, like Kount, you'd sell out to a big national company, and other times, now there's the ESOP model. I don't know if it's really new, because we've had Winco within our midst for decades and decades using the ESOP model. Drake Cooper, Norco, Lighthouse Foods, other companies are seeing the ESOP ownership, the employee stock ownership plan, as a viable transition plan or succession plan. All right, for 2021, again, technology and software are leading out. So we're seeing the most deal flow in that industry, which is great for the state, to add diversification and, again, those higher paying jobs. All right, last year, right before COVID hit, we announced this 50 to the A initiative. And this is an initiative to start counting 50 companies that reach a Series A funding round. This is kind of an inflection point for a company where they've grown to a certain point where there's interest, usually from outside companies, so usually larger regional or national capital providers are looking to participate in these Series A's, and it really is that inflection point of growth. So in 2020, we tracked 3 Series A deals: Tackle.io, Crowdsource, Springwater, and Gather. And already in 2021, there are 2 other deals, PlexTrack and Emerson Learning. In addition, you see what happens when you get to the Series A with Tackle.io. In 2020, they raised their Series A, and already in 2021, they announced their Series B. And this Series B is pretty significant for Idaho. I mean, we had Andreessen Horowitz in that deal, some really big players that are coming to Idaho and spending their money helping us build our companies. So I'm really excited to see this initiative, and hopefully, at this rate, maybe it's going to take us 10 years to get to 50 companies that raise their Series A round. But we're seeing an acceleration of companies that are starting and growing here. So it would be great to see this actually happen in maybe 5 to 7 years instead of 10 years. So with that, we'll just direct everyone to the idahodealflow.com website, where you can sign up to receive the quarterly deal flow reports, where you can actually see the 10-year history worth of deal flow transaction, and also to submit any of deal flow that we haven't seen or we don't get our hands on. Please submit that. The more that we report that, the better off we all are.
Blake, you just mentioned that the acceleration of Series A funding. And we just saw last week the announcement of VisitPay. What do you think about that, and when do you think that's going to close?
So yeah, VisitPay last week. I mean, congratulations to that team. They've been at it for almost 10 years. That $300 million deal, I guess, is supposed to close sometime in the third quarter. But just, again, goes to show the type of companies that are being built here in Idaho. I mean, how many transactions have we seen in the last 5 years over $100 million from Idaho companies? Just really exciting to see that. And again, from what I understand, Kent's going to be building that team even bigger, bringing more talent to Idaho, and adding hundreds more jobs to already hundreds of employees that are here in Idaho.
Which is fantastic. And I think, Alison, this speaks to that a little bit, because if you look at like Cradlepoint, VisitPay, Kount, all of these things are happening, but they're not exiting Idaho. They're building them in Idaho and Boise. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, well, Jay, as you mentioned, Kount's a big acquisition, and As far as we know, they're continuing to stay here locally and grow their talent. We've seen that with Truck Stop. We've seen that with T-Sheets and now the Intuit team. And so it's really great to see these big acquirers come in, continue to keep the companies here in Boise, continue to grow jobs, grow our economy, and make this the type of place that we all want to live in.
And the opportunity for us is going to be to be able to look at this, and like this is the Idaho Dealflow Report and what's happening in Coeur d'Alene and eastern Idaho and other places. So this is exciting for us. So and the beautiful thing that's happening right now is that we get the chance to be able to have as our story of the highlight of this of Capital Connect series is the Kount team. So that's going to be a fantastic opportunity for us right now. So stay tuned as we bring on Brad Wiskirchen, Rich Stuppy, and Jim Gasaway. So welcome back to the Capital Connect series. This is something that I personally have been very thrilled about for the last 30 days because we have the opportunity to listen to the Kount story. And with joining us right now is Brad Wiskirchen and Rich Stuppy and Jim Gasaway. The three that have been, I call them the trifecta of change because they've done so many amazing things for Idaho as well as growing an amazing company here. And what's really impressive is when we first started the Idaho Technology Council, which has now been 12 years, I actually picked up the phone and had an opportunity to talk to Brad about it. And I said, hey, Brad, we're going to do something that's going to really focus on growing innovation and technology. And Brad had already started this Idaho Software Employers Alliance, which is about growing software in Idaho. And he said, well, count me in as the first supporter. And we signed the Articles of Incorporation in their third floor office, which is right next to Ann Morrison Park. So they've been a big part of this. So let's talk about this. Here you just sold now to Kount. You closed earlier this year, Brad. Let's have you start on this. Talk a little bit about, let the audience know a little bit about what Kount does, and then also when you started, and kind of give the early days of Kount, or
Sure.
Kinetics.
Happy to. So Kount's the premier fraud control solution historically for payments fraud. So we represent some of the biggest brands out there: Chase, Barclays, Moneris, Braintree, PayPal, BlueSnap, many others, and some of the biggest brands in e-commerce, including folks like Staples, Dunkin' Donuts, you name it. And some great local brands like bodybuilding.com and ClickBank. And we provide them with their fraud protection for their financial transactions historically, so when you get to the order form or the checkout. But we've moved beyond the transaction in the last year or two so that we are actually providing protection for account creation, account takeover, really any digital interaction that someone has with their end consumer. And we're also, in addition to that, able to now provide some fantastic and proprietary data back to the merchants on who their end consumers are to help them reduce friction, streamline the transaction, and provide better service to them. So we've really evolved, Jay, since the early days when we just looked at it as an attempt to protect our own merchant account. Because Kount evolved out of a company called ClickBank, which is a local company, which is a large online retailer of digital goods. And because it was digital goods at the time, now they sell physical goods as well, it was a rough neighborhood. And there was a lot of fraud, and there was really no solutions which could adequately address our need for fraud prevention. So we started the company in order to protect our own merchant account. And really, the three of us were the first executives hired to do that, and we did it in conjunction with the founder of ClickBank, Tim Barber, and the ClickBank board, and they the rest is history. It kind of grew from there.
So ClickBank was really, I didn't realize that ClickBank was the nexus where it all started, and then this was a product where you were providing services, and now it's been amazing growth that's taking place. What was really good, and Jim, you might like to jump in on here. What was interesting is that as you talk about the growth of all these bad actors that are doing a lot of different things, and point of artificial intelligence and things like that have been growing because you have so many points of data now, right? How has that changed, and how have you changed over the last 10 years with the technology?
Well, definitely. The technology's changed quite a bit from our early days where we invented device fingerprinting and proxy piercing. And now it's grown into where we unsupervised machine learning models that we created from the very beginning of Kount that really helped us stand out that nobody else is doing out there. And then we moved into supervised machine learning models. So the combination of both really allows for a complete true AI modeling. And that's kind of what's grown over the years in Kount, and kind of what's fed some of our core technology out of Kount. So it's been a lot of technology around that, as well as our rules engine. We created our own rules engine to help manage rules, as well as an account management system, as well as business intelligence tools to help our customers. So it's really, as Brad mentioned, it's really, we're here to protect the brand, and we're here to protect the customer's brand from the beginning to the end. So as you experience that entire customer journey, that is kind of how we've morphed, is to logins, account signups, maybe loyalty rewards, maybe disbursements on the back end. Maybe you buy credits and then you download as you use those credits. We're protecting that entire customer journey and the brand associated with that.
That's a bit. So Rich, let's have you talk about this a little bit. So you were all early stage company. I mean, this was back when you guys worked out of the office on Jefferson, and you were just a few people, right? Then you've grown to the point where you've now been acquired for $660 million? 640 million by Equifax. So if you look at that, what kind of pitfalls did you guys experience during your early stage? And can you talk about things that you went through and how it kind of helped define Kount?
Yeah, I think the pitfalls, I think we probably went through all of them in some way, shape, or form. Had a lot of great people that were on the team helping us get through the different sorts of challenges that we had. But it's the traditional. You make a forecast. You have to hit your numbers. You have to keep onboarding customers. And we literally started with ClickBank as our only customer, and now we've, depending on how you count it, it's 10,000 plus businesses all over the globe. Transactions, hundreds of transactions, thousands of transactions a second, and it was always a lot of teamwork around completing the swing through product, technology, marketing, sales, operations, customer success, all of those things, because anytime there's leakage in that swing, you're gonna suffer. And we got good and dramatically improved our skills over time in making sure that we're able to complete that swing.
Brad, what do you think? Anything else? What are some of the defining deals? Thanks, Rich, for that.
I remember, so we were the first to market, and we're still by far the best to market based on all the industry analysts, but with a product that was sold into payment gateways, acquiring banks, payment service providers, basically anybody who provides a payment solution. We created a solution that could be integrated seamlessly into their authorization flow. But we did that in connection with one of our customers, Braintree, and that was actually right before PayPal bought Braintree. But I vividly remember the day that we were going to sign the contract, and the three of us were actually in a cab in Manhattan in meetings, and we got a call, and they said, we're going to sign the agreement and then we're going to jointly develop this solution. We didn't have the solution yet. Now, we were honest with them that we didn't have the solution, but there was going to be a collaborative effort. But I remember the three of us talking about it and saying, this is a big thing to bite off, but we're going to roll the dice, we're going to do it. I called the then chairman of the board, because at the time I was still running ClickBank and Kount at the same time, and saying, hey, we're going to do this. There's risk involved because we may or may not be able to build the solution collaboratively with them, but we think it's worth the risk. And I think we had a collective puckering in that cab as we got nervous, and it was a defining moment because that cab ride ended up creating a solution where now we represent the biggest players in payments, period, in the globe. And now we're doing transactions in over 200 countries on any given day. Well, we did a couple dozen transactions last year to Antarctica, all of which were to travel sites to get the heck off Antarctica. A few dozen transactions in Vatican City, and they were all, I think, to video game companies. So there's either the Pope or a Cardinal really likes to play video games. But now we're everywhere as a result of that decision, and Kount's really ubiquitous in the payments industry. So that was really one of the most defining moments in the entire company history.
It was a critical path that you were at right there in New York City.
In a cab.
In a cab.
We were literally in the back seat of a cab.
And all three of you guys were in the cab?
Yep. It was
In the back seat. It
was
was crowded.
tight.
It was crowded.
Actually,
Rich
maybe it
was on
wasn't
the hump in the middle.
Maybe it wasn't so bad because we were all a little skinnier.
Yeah, we were all
Skinnier.
back
Yeah.
then. Yeah.
It's a very good point. So this is kind of fun. So, Rich, you actually have been the chair of the Idaho Technology Council.
Indeed.
And you also know how big it is to be able to grow a team. In fact, you have the focus, as I understand it, on customer satisfaction and delivering to the customer. Talk about why that's so important.
I think it might sound obvious, but the customers are what build your business. And giving them the opportunity to express their gratitude for your service by paying their bill is a really, really big deal. And when you're customer facing in a very data-driven, real-time, and adversarial sort of business that we're in, because our customers are being attacked by organized, intelligent, organized crime. And we're helping them protect themselves in real time, in a fraction of a blink of an eye for an individual event. And so as that adjusts and morphs and changes, you have to build an organization that's customer facing that can do the same thing with the continuous desire to improve. And I really think of it in terms of I like to say we're in the third inning of a game that never ends. And the only thing that we can do is keep getting better and find the places where we're not good enough, and it's everywhere, and just keep growing and building, and just recognize you got an unlimited capacity to improve how the organization serves its customers.
And, Rich won't toot his own horn enough here, but he's created remarkable solutions. He and his team have created remarkable and proprietary solutions that help us assess the health and satisfaction of our customers, leveraging artificial intelligence, and do so in real time so we can identify, hey, there might be a problem here. We have to alert our customer to it, increasing their satisfaction and helping them manage their business better. The tools that they've created are truly remarkable. I think they've really blown away Equifax as it's one of those points where they've said, holy cow, how's this little company in Boise doing this when we're this giant global company and we've not been able to come up with these sort of solutions? Nobody has. I mean, Rich has really dialed this in with his team. It's a remarkable team effort, but leveraging technology and people to make everything scalable so that we can provide these services globally to thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of customers. So it's been pretty remarkable.
And the key is we're a very data-centric organization with very creative people, and they really know the core fraud business. So they can collaborate and anticipate and see problems as they're happening and then automate it. And the team really knows what they're doing.
Yep.
Well, it's interesting because I saw Josh Johnson. He just talked about you had a team that went back and competed against all the Equifax other teams, and they came out on top. I mean, you've got is that
Yeah, that was our hackathon for all of Equifax, so 11,000 employees. And yeah, there were a lot of teams that competed, and Josh and his team did an awesome job. They really blew it away, and you can go out there on LinkedIn and see the video that they created too, which is pretty cool. It kind of shows the best of Idaho and what it is a great place to live here. So,
are you sure they're not professional videographers? I mean, that was absolutely wonderful to watch.
It was great.
yeah.
But I think that what I'm saying is that as I look at it, and Brad, I've seen several times that, and this is the whole team. You guys have been recognized as one of the top fraud protection companies by several different organizations. Forbes had you down. Everybody has you guys listed on this. You've won national, worldwide awards. Is it all because of the team? I mean, you always talk about how important the team is. Can you guys talk about that a little bit?
Oh yeah, there's no question it's about the team. Look, as Rich and Jim both alluded to, in the early days, they were wild and woolly, and we had lots of challenges. But I've always said, I sleep well at nights because I know no matter what challenge we face, no matter how big the challenge, no matter where the challenge or when the challenge, we have assembled such a great team that works so effectively with each other and is so just freaking good that no matter what the challenge, we'll rally, we'll lock arms, we'll rally, and we'll figure out what the solution is. And I can say that because over a decade we've done it together, and we have not met a challenge that we weren't able to overcome. So, and that's just remarkable. Like, I don't know what we're 60-0 or something, but we literally haven't, as a team, met a challenge where if we lock arms, we can't solve it. So there's a great deal of solace that comes with that if you're the CEO, because it could be 2 a.m. and something could happen that's not your company's fault at all, but the right people are going to be alerted and they're going to take care of it no matter what it is. And I just love this team. We've got a great team and a great culture because of what these two guys have done.
And you mentioned the awards, Jay. Winning awards is actually a competency that you have to grow as your company grows. And our marketing and product and sales team has really helped us explain the capabilities to analysts, explain the capabilities to these award panels and things like that. And it is, again, everybody working together because that competency is critically important when you're going to explain, you're going to win an award, and that's going to get you recognition on a global scale. It's invaluable to have that sort of coverage.
Yeah.
I think we're definitely the most award-winning fraud solution in the world, period. But the one I think I'm most proud of, I don't know about you two, but it's every year they give out an award by the online retailers around the world, and they pick the best fraud solution. It's not the analysts, it's not the industry experts, it's the merchants. And so they'll do a survey of all the online merchants, and they started that 9 years ago, and we have won it every single year.
Really?
9 years in a row, every single year we've been named. And for your customers and for the users to say, this is the best fraud solution in the world, that's the one I'm most proud of.
I thought you were going to say the Idaho Innovation Awards. I wasn't sure, Brad, but I know
Well,
you've won that a few
I'm
times
talking
too.
about the global awards.
The global
local
award,
awards,
yeah.
it's a given.
Yeah, that's
it's Idaho Innovation, and we've won several of
You
those.
have.
We've
You
won
guys-
Innovator of the Year, Innovative Company of the Year twice.
Yeah.
Two of us have won Innovator of the Year. We've won. We've won.
You've been
a lot.
You take home the gold a lot. So
Yeah. Well, second place is just first loser. So.
yeah, this is a good, intellectual property. It used to be in 1980, 85% of a company's assets was in physical, assets. Today, it's about 90% of a company's wealth is accumulated by intellectual property. How does that work for you, Jim, and what's going on at Kount? And also, how have you worked on the people to be able to write the code and to be able to do all of the things that are necessary to grow Kount?
Yeah, so I think, intellectual property, we have a great program within Kount, and especially around patents, where we reward people for creating patents within our organization. And so you're actually paid a cash bonus up front for submitting the patent, as well as when it's actually issued. So there's we definitely want to reward that kind of behavior around that. And so, Kount kind of grew up from that intellectual property. Now there's a lot of intellectual property that we kind of keep secret, and we don't necessarily want to patent everything because it is core to kind of some of the things that we do. So it's kind of a combination of both, and that's kind of what's allowed us to really mature our technology. Going back to hiring great teams, I think, we at Kount kind of have a rule where we don't hire buttholes. So it's generally kind of our motto. Like, it's hire slow and fire fast. And some of the learnings, as you think about it, is sometimes maybe we didn't fire as fast as we should have from the learnings, and you'll learn that over time as you scale a company and grow a company from that. But those are kind of the things where you learn, and you learn how to continue to grow that company and continue to hold on to the smart people that really can build that intellectual property and that wealth within your company.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I think that's very, very well. How do you guys think the Boise marketplace has been? I mean, Brad, at one point you were talking about how you were having pressure from your board to be able to possibly move Kount to down into the Silicon Valley area. Talk a little bit about how you were able to navigate through that, and how you were able to keep Kount in Boise.
Well, I think we've created an enviable culture, and we're aggressive about it, particularly in a non-COVID environment. But even during COVID, we've done things to try and build a sense of team and to drive that sense of team home continuously. And most of it surrounds being open, honest, and fearless. That's the mantra around Kount, is we are open, honest, and fearless in all our communications. So throughout COVID, I've given updates that, everyone in the company, without exception, knows how we're doing financially, and we give updates on what the good, the bad, and the ugly are that are going on around town. So we've been able to retain the talent that we've hired. And then we built an enviable facility in right downtown Boise, which is just a frickin' fantastic building. So when Equifax came in and the CEO, Mark Begor, came to Boise just after the closing, it was still, everybody was still in masks and COVID in downtown, and it was, it was a pretty tough period. He went through our building, he met our team, and he said, I want to significantly grow our footprint in Boise. So he and I were at dinner at Chandler's that night, and who walks in but, Brad Little, and so we walked over to Brad's table and had a conversation with him and his head of commerce, Tom Keeley, who was there with him, and we said, and Mark said, I want to expand. I want this to be our third largest facility. Atlanta, our headquarters, is the biggest, and then it's St. Louis, but I want Boise to be our third largest center of employment. So where would we go? And they pointed out buildings downtown where if we expand beyond our current building, we could go. And it was great to see that he saw what we've built here, and he saw the quality of the individuals that we have, and he saw the quality of the city, and he was able to, without any prior appointment, meet with the governor and talk to him about what Equifax can do in Boise. And I had dinner with him last Wednesday in Atlanta, and the president of the company, Sid Singh, and they are both deeply, deeply committed to growing Boise into a center of excellence within Equifax. And that's a product of a lot of things, the culture that we've built, but also Boise itself.
And I would say that the ITC has played a significant role there, because back when the ITC started, Boise State was graduating 5 to 10 computer science graduates a year.
Yeah.
Then I don't know what the number is now, but I know it's a lot more.
It's just over 100.
Yep, and so the ITC played a role. Jim's been very involved with the computer science department. We have developers that are also adjunct professors, and that's a raw material that the entire technology community came together in Idaho and said, if we don't have software developers, this isn't going to happen. Mm-hmm. And ITC played a critical role in making that happen.
Totally agree.
That's fantastic, and I think it's about 130 graduates, and I think somebody from Kount's actually going to be one of the first PhD students that has graduated. So it's you guys, not only you go up the food chain all the way around.
That's not me.
What I really like, if I can, just the last part of this, is that what I really like is that what you're doing yesterday and today is building the future, right? So you're talking about how Equifax is now going to be the third largest center for them employment-wise in Boise at some point. And I think that if you can look at that, look at it, if you could give a recommendation, I'd like all three of you to answer this question. Give a recommendation as early stage company, what would you suggest to them to be able to help ensure or help them be more successful, help them get across the challenges they meet? What do you think, Jim?
From a technology perspective, don't be scared to fail. Like, I can't tell you how many things we created that we never released into production. We tried different technologies, we tried different things. Like, you can't be scared to fail. Otherwise, you will continue to get yourself caught in this rabbit hole where you're only interested in pushing out code and only interested in doing things and not thinking outside the box. You've got to think outside the box, and you've got to bring that innovation and those new ideas to fruition to grow your company.
I like that. Don't be afraid to fail, which you got to sit there and look at. Edison, how many times he failed? He said it was a process. It wasn't a failure. It was a process, right? Mm-hmm. I loved it. So what do you think, Rich?
Well, especially for early stage companies, I think the number one rule is once you are going to work really hard to get a customer. Once you get that customer or a few customers, don't lose them no matter what. And do whatever it takes throughout your entire organization. And it's not just people that are customer facing, it's literally everybody. Do whatever it takes to keep them, and they will tell you what the market wants. And the more you focus on them, the better it's going to go.
Very good. Right.
Don't be proud. Ask questions. There's a lot of entrepreneurs in this town that have been there, done that, and without a single exception, they're folks who are perfectly willing to take your call and answer questions. You've got, the Faisal Shaws, the Matt Rissels, the Paris at truckstop.com, you name it, and they will take your call. And I don't think that's. I don't think it's totally unique to Boise, but the fact of the matter is it's a pretty valuable asset that we have here in Boise, that the entrepreneurs who have been successful and who have grown their companies and had liquidity events are perfectly willing to help you, and have raised private equity money are perfectly willing to help you. There's no challenge that's unique. There's no challenge under the sun that's new, and so don't be afraid to ask several folks, because they will help you.
I love that. So and there is a community here that we probably didn't have 12, 15 years ago now, right?
Absolutely.
And that's what's changed. Frankly, that's really one of the biggest things. And think about where you have been now from 15 years of experience that you guys have had. It's remarkable, right?
Yeah. We're very insular as a technology community in the early days of the ITC, and I think the ITC helped break down those walls, both in creating events like the Hall of Fame and this event. It really helped bring people together and figured out there's no point in being insular, no point in being isolated. Help each other.
Yeah, and have that connections. Connections are a big thing. And what's really great is when I hear several people that have come in that I've talked to, is how many of them talk with you about certain things, and how you've opened doors with certain things, and how you have helped give them advice. And so that has been fantastic. Last question for you, because I know this is kind of a Boise deal. And we know, talk about how big diversity is for your team and for Kount and for our area.
To me, it's a gigantic deal. When I think in terms of like the women in technology, we have a group in the women in technology at Kount. I'm the executive liaison there, and the way I explain it is, 50% of the brains in the world are female, and we would be stupid not to try to leverage that brain power, because brain power, ideas, execution, that's what builds our company. And I mean, that's the more perspectives you get, the more likely you are to be successful.
Yeah. It's not representative on this panel, but a significant portion probably venturing on a majority of our leadership in our company is female, and I think it is a challenge with other minority groups, because as we recruit them, they say, well, there's nobody with whom I'm going to feel comfortable associating in this community because I'm from whatever part of the world. So I think it's an area that it's a bit of a challenge right now to recruit into Boise because of that, and I think that's one we've got to work collectively to overcome, because we need the insights from people. Just like Rich says, you'd be crazy not to get the perspective of 50% of the people on the planet. You'd be crazy not to get the perspective of different cultures, different geographies, different all different groups. So right. We're deeply committed to a diverse workforce at Kount and Equifax, and we're looking to broaden our footprint in that area and bring as much diversity into Boise as we possibly can, because I think for Boise to succeed, for technology in Boise to succeed, we absolutely have to have a more diverse workforce.
Yeah, and I think the change, the way the world's changed now, where we've become this virtual world now, I think that's helping to expand our ability to dig into that ethnic diversity, where we're able to go out to different cities in the U.S. and now that have a more ethnically diverse population and hire those individuals and then show them Boise and then hopefully get them to slowly move here to Boise. So that has been kind of a big win for us, and I think a big win for a lot of folks, where now we have a much wider breadth of folks that we have the opportunity to go after that have that diversity.
And what's so great about that is you guys talk about this, you know that Kount will be a big driver to help us with that diversity, and has helped us with that already. So thanks for what you've been doing. Okay, so if I'm going to say only one word you can add to this very last one, what would you put in this? Boise is known for. Okay, who wants to go on that one first? Rich?
Boise's known for people.
People. Love it. Brad?
Boise is known for integrity.
Love that. Jim?
Outdoor life.
That's a run-on. I'm sorry, you can't accept that. Outdoor life. I love that. Yeah, it's a quality of life, right?
It's a quality of life.
Hyphenated all the way through.
It's a quality of life, but truly the outdoors.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. I can only tell you thanks, Brad, Rich, and Jim. Thanks for all that you've been doing. You guys have been very instrumental in growing a stronger ecosystem of technology and innovation in Idaho and in Boise. And we really are much better because of the work that you've done and the work that you're doing. And the future is much brighter because of what you did 15 years ago, what you're doing today, and what's going to happen in the future. So I just want you to know Kount is totally awesome. Thank you guys so much, and thanks for all you're doing to help support and grow innovation in Idaho.
Thanks, Jay.
Thanks, Jay.
Yeah, thank you, Jay.
And thanks again to presenting sponsors Holland Hart and Alturas Capital, and our print sponsor, HP. And we'd also like to thank St. Luke's, Idaho Central Credit Union, and BR Wealth Management for your continued support of Capital Connect series. And we hope you will continue to join us the third Tuesday of each month from 12 to 12:30 as we continue to celebrate growth of Idaho. Thank you so much, and let's hear it for Kount.
Thanks again, Jay.
Thanks, Jay.
Appreciate you making time. I know you have 1 o'clock, right? So. Guys, that was awesome. Appreciate you guys doing it. Thanks for your kind words about the ITC.